Aloha and welcome to First Mondays at the Lutheran Church of Honolulu. Out of an abundance of caution amidst the surge of COVID in our state, we've decided to have a virtual concert tonight rather than an in-person performance. However, this concert will not disappoint. We're excited to welcome Jacob Scharfman to our First Mondays series. Tonight's concert is offered to you free of charge thanks to the generous sponsorship of the Arthur Mae Orvis Foundation and to private donors like you who make this concert series possible for the entire season. However, it is a new year, 2022, and a new opportunity for us to ask you to please consider becoming a sponsor of this concert series. If you value the arts in our community as much as we do at the Lutheran Church of Honolulu, you'll consider making a donation at the link you'll see on the screen right now. Or, if you'd prefer to mail a donation, you can send a check to 1730 Punahou Street, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96822, and you'll see that address on the screen as well. About a year ago, I was contacted by my ka'i Nash, a well-known pianist in our community here in Honolulu, who said that he was working with a young baritone artist to prepare an audition tape for an opera competition or opera company. So I decided to come down to the church and help as the recording engineer for this project and got to hear Jacob sing. And what a voice. He's a fantastic performer. And I hoped from that point that we would have a chance to work together again. So it was very timely that when we decided to go to virtual concerts for January, that Jacob was available for us to collaborate and prepare this concert, featuring the works of Mozart, Ravel, Bach, Tchaikovsky, and others. Thank you again for joining us. It's really a pleasure to be able to share these concerts with you. Please do consider becoming a sponsor and making a donation, and we hope to see you again for our future concerts. Thank you, and enjoy the program.
Hello to the Lutheran Church of Honolulu. My name is Jacob Scharfman. This is my wonderful pianist, Wei-Han Wu, and we are very excited to participate in this recital series. So thank you for listening.
Roll out in the dark, outside the door. their silhouettes, and the flocks that in the garden beds turn red, turn grey with the time of day, and swear sweet in the rain, then die away. The miller's cat is a chatting, she is as mean as a healthy cat can be. She plays in the loft where the sunbeams stroke the sandstack backs, and beetles choke in the flowery dust. The wheel goes round, and the miller's wife sleeps fast and sound. There is a clock inside the house, very tall and very bright. It strikes the hour when shadows drops, or showers make the windows white. Loud and sweet in rain and sun, the clock strikes and the work is done. The miller's wife and his eldest girl clean and cook while the mill wheels whirl. The children take their meat to school, and at dusk they play by the twilight pool. Barefoot, bareheaded till the day is dead, and their mother calls them into bed. The supper stands on the green scrubbed board, and the miller drinks like a thirsty lord. The young man come for his daughter's sake, but she never knows which one to take. She drives a needle and pins a stuff, while the moon shines gold, and the lamp shines buff.
I'm here with our featured artist, Jacob Scharfman, who's
Hello.
actually Zooming right now from Europe. It's a real pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, I was so grateful for the offer, and it was a lot of fun.
So I have three things I wanted to ask you about. The first one is if you could tell us a little bit about your past that led you on the career path that you're on, and maybe something formative that happened that sticks out as something that helped you to become the artist that you presently are and still becoming.
Sure, yeah. So I didn't always fit in when I was a kid. I was sort of very shy at first, and then realized I just didn't really match always so well with others. I think it had a lot to do with like gender and like things that boys were supposed to do that I didn't really want to do. And so music and school and like, you know, the activities of the mind became a way for me to feel confident and have value. And so when, you know, other people were playing soccer, I didn't feel coordinated or didn't feel like I fit in, it was like an opportunity to be practicing. So as I progressed, I just kind of kept following it, and I thought about a lot of different directions, but music just, the bug bit me. And actually when my father passed away about 9 years ago, it was like, what's going to be left of me? Like when I go, and what are my loved ones going to have, and what's my community going to have? And I was like, I really want to pursue music professionally. So that was maybe like, that was just at the end of college. And that was the formative impetus to really pursue music professionally. So that's sort of where I'm at. It's a very hard path, which I struggle with sometimes. Being an artist is definitely not clear cut. There's not always so many support systems or like a recipe rule book that you follow. So I definitely struggle with that, but it's a really special career, and I'm glad I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. As a artist and performer myself, I can totally relate to that. But it's inspirational to see somebody who finds that calling and really goes for it like you have. And so.
Meine Wanderlauf der Welt ist eine Schifffahrt gleich, Betrübnis aus dem Schiff in meiner Stadt, wie ist das Himmelreich, wovon ich mit den Frommen aus ihrer Trübsal werde kommen. Endlich will mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Endlich wird mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Endlich wird mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Endlich wird mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Endlich wird mein Endlich wird mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Endlich wird mein Joch wieder von mir weichen müssen. Da krieg ich in den hellen Kraft, da hab ich alles Eigenschaft, da fahr ich auch von dieser Erde und laufe sonderbar zu werden. Oh, geschieht es heute noch, oh, geschieht es heute noch, oh, geschieht es heute noch, geschieht es heute noch. Oh, geschieht es heute, geschieht es heute noch.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing opportunity that you gave me because usually I have to do music that someone else chose, right? I do a lot of opera, and that means that there's a whole hierarchy of people above me who chose the repertoire. But with a recital like this one that's much more open-ended, I got to choose them. So I can't choose a favorite among my children for this recital. But let's see. So I know you guys love Bach over at Lutheran Church of Honolulu. I grew up on Bach. It's a big connection with my dad, actually. And so I would love to do an album someday, which has BWV 56, from which I do Endlich wird mein Joch, and then also BWV 82, Ich habe genug, which I did Schlummert ein.
Schlummert Ich bleibe nicht mehr, hab ich doch kein Teil an mir, dass der Seele könnte taugen, dass der Seele könnte taugen, wenn ich bleibe nicht mehr hier, hab ich doch kein Teil an mir, dass der Seele könnte taugen. Hier muss ich das Elend bauen, aber dort wird ich schon süßen Frieden Hier muss ich das Elend bauen, aber dort will ich schon süßen Frieden, stille Ruhe. Süßen Schlummert an mir matten Augen, fallet sanft und selig zu. Schlummert ein, schlummert ein, schlummert ein, ihr être toujours ce bon amant qui met de l'eau dans son ivresse. Je bois à la joie est c'est plus d'où je vais pas lorsque j'ai bu. Ah, la joie, la la la, je bois la joie.
So love Tchaikovsky. Just one of the great melodic writers ever, as well as harmonic writing. But something about a Tchaikovsky melody is so simple and yet just so engaging and full and deep. So this aria is from Onegin. He's singing to this girl who's kind of fallen in love with him from afar and wrote him this very like gushy emotional letter, which he's like, ew, feelings, like, no, thank you. And basically shuts her down in what is a really patronizing and difficult way. But in the middle of the song, he has this moment where he's like, but maybe, il может быть, he says, but maybe I love you more than just a neighbor or a brother, because they like live on two estates a couple of miles away. Maybe I love you more than that. And he gets confused for a second, but then he pulls it back together and he puts his game face back on. And then at the end of the opera, spoiler,
Вы мне писали, не отпирайтесь. Я прочту души доверчивое признание, любви невинное излияние. Мне ваша искренность мила, она мне не привела давно умой плохие чувства, но восхвалить я не хочу. Я за нее вам отплачу признанием, как же есть искусство. Примите ж исповедь свою, себя на суд вам отдаю. Когда бы жизнь домашним кругом я ограничиться хотел, когда мне быть отцом супругом приятней жили повелел, то верно, кроме вас одной не весть и не искать иной. Но я не создан для блаженства, ему чужда душа моя. Напрасны ваши совершенства, их не достоин вовсе я. Поверьте, совестом порукой, супружеством нам будет мукой. Я сколько не любил и вас, привыкнув раз люблю тот час. Сулите ж вы, какие розы нам заготовить милей. И, может быть, много дней. Мечтами годом нет возврата, ах, нет возврата,
what are you working on right now, and what's in the near future and perhaps the long-term future for you?
Yeah. So right now, I'm sort of in an awkward spot. The pandemic has been very challenging for artists, as I'm sure everybody in your congregation knows. It's awesome that you guys are kind of keeping the arts alive throughout all these endless waves, it seems like. So I
Yeah.
have been working in a small city in Germany called Chemnitz and had some really good roles there, but unfortunately, a couple shows had to get canceled. So now in a bit of an artistic limbo, I do have a few more productions or a few more performances coming up in the spring. And then I do have some fun plans coming up in the fall that I'm not really supposed to talk about yet, but
Okay.
well, you guys should stay tuned and can join my newsletter at jacobscharfman.com if you want to learn more. And so what happens during the pandemic, I've learned, is that I get more time for teaching when the performances get canceled. So I have a pretty consistent voice studio, and it goes in waves opposite sort of to the pandemic in a way. So when I have more free time, I take on more students. If anybody in the congregation is interested, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, it's like, how do we build an artistic world in this new normal? I'm not sure, but I'm glad to have work coming up in the future and to have teaching as I don't want to say a fallback strategy because it's actually a really primary artistic pursuit for me, but that's sort of what the next couple months are going to look like. Side projects, life, living, enjoying Portugal, where I've sort of landed for the moment. And yeah.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaves have flown to show the day. Sometime too hard the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dim, and every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou own'st, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, for in eternal life to time thou growest, so long as man can breathe or eyes can see. So long lives this, and this gives